Next up, we got Absolute Mad Labs Tarrare, the human stomach. Actually, I know somebody. My friend actually is a human stomach himself, bro. If you watch this, you know who you are. This, bro, he literally, like, when I say literally, will literally eat a whole, like, bro, when I say, bro, oh my god, like, we'll literally eat. Like, say we eat out, all right, we eat out some food, say we Chick-fil-A or something like that. Then he'll get a milkshake. Then he'll get after you get a milkshake, then he'll get a tropical smoothie. And then I'm talking about he'll eat all this, and like you'll get it. All right, so say you get the milkshake, right? And by the time you get out of the line and like driving like 3 minutes, he be done with it. 3 minutes into the road, he be done with it. It's like, bro, do you even enjoy your food at this point? Like, my nigga, you know what I'm saying? But hey, got some nice food, you feel me? Speaking of the human stomach, got some McDonald's crispy chicken sandwich, 10-piece nugget, Sprite, and large fry. You know what I'm saying? A little smooth. I really don't eat. This is kind of a lot, but I don't really eat this much. But hey, man, let's see what it is.
Some of us are sensible about it and eat healthily. Some of us are not so sensible and overindulge until we become fat fucks. I'm going to the gym, fuck off. But there was once a man who ate extreme amounts that no normal human should have been able to consume. And he would very often eat things he wasn't supposed to.
What?
Really wasn't supposed to, in a moral sense. And he didn't do it because he was hungry. He did it because he just couldn't help it.
Okay, buddy.
Tarrare.
Okay.
Birth. And we also believe that Tarrare was born in the French countryside around approximately 1772, but unfortunately we don't have an exact record of his birth. And we also believe that Tarrare might not have been his real name, but a nickname. While raising him, his mother and father noticed that no matter how much they fed him, he would always be hungry. And apparently in his teenage years, he ate a quarter of a cow over the course of a single day. Tarrare's appetite was used for his household. His family
what is happening?
Apparently, in his teenage years, he ate a quarter of a cow over the course of a single day. Tarrare's appetite was bad news for his household. His family were quite poor, and Tarrare kept eating everything in the house, even when he was told not to. He just couldn't control his compulsion to do it. It got so bad that there was a risk of his family starving to death, so his mother and father, who couldn't take it anymore, simply threw Tarrare out onto the street. Tarrare ended up joining up with a band of thieves and prostitutes where he stole and begged for food. One of the weird things about Tarrare is despite his massive intake of food, he was a skinny guy. Around the age of 17, he apparently weighed around 100 pounds and he remained skinny for his whole life. He was average height, his hair was fair and described as unusually soft, but there were even stranger things about Tarrare's body. He stunk. He apparently had the worst body odour in recorded history. It was even described in the London Medical and Physical Journal as being to such a degree that it could not be endured within the distance of 20 paces. People said that after he had eaten, his body odour would get even worse, to the point where you could apparently see a visible vapour rising off of his body.
No, you're cap. You're cap. No, bro. No. Stop.
Said
stop,
that after
stop,
he had eaten,
stop.
his body odour would get even worse, to the point where you could apparently see a visible vapour rising off of his body. His eyes would become bloodshot, he would burp and fart a lot, and he would become...
Yeah, because he ate so much food. You gotta think about it, bro. All that food sitting in your stomach, and it's like, I don't know how he don't gain weight. I don't understand that part, but all that food sitting in your body, like, and you definitely do not work out. You don't, like, you know what I'm saying, run it out or anything. All that just sitting in your body, and this is gonna make it stink because it's just chewed up food and
lethargic. He would also do farts that would shake the earth to its very core, and a lot of people think that this is where the nickname Tarrare came from, because French expressions such as Bonbon Tarrare or Tarrare Bomdier are used to describe fanfares or explosions. He also had constant diarrhea. It seemed that his stomach acid was so strong that it would just liquefy absolutely everything he had eaten, and because he would eat so much, the diarrhea was constant and really bad. Doctors actually described his diarrhea as fetid beyond all conception. Imagine your shit being so bad that there is a historical record of it. But the main thing that surprised a lot of people when they first met Tarrare was his mouth. He had an unusually large mouth with almost no lips showing. It was essentially just this huge line going all the way across his face. And that just sounds fucking creepy. Another strange thing about him was his skin. His skin was apparently very loose and very stretchy. It was said that whenever Tarrare had actually eaten until he was full, his stomach would actually stretch right out like a huge inflated balloon, and when he hadn't eaten anything, he could actually wrap the loose skin around his waist. The man just sounds like a human scrotum. This stretchy, loose skin meant that Tarrare could hold 10 apples in his mouth or 12 eggs in his mouth without them breaking. This trick, accompanied with Tarrare's strange eating habits, actually came in very handy for him because he ended up joining up with a conman's travelling freak show as a warm-up act. Tarrare's act involved him swallowing corks, stones, and entire baskets of apples.
What the fuck did he say?
Because he ended up joining up with a conman's travelling freak show as a warm-up act. Tarrare's act involved him swallowing corks, stones, and entire baskets of apples by swallowing each apple whole. The act also involved him eating...
Bro, I literally can't... Bro, I don't think most human beings can even, like, put an apple in their mouth. I can't put an apple... My jaw don't open up that wide. An apple is, like, actually big, bro. Like, how can you literally, bro, swallow a whole apple whole without even... Stop.
Five animals. Some of them, apparently, were rats people had found in the street.
Okay, buddy.
Tarrare's job was to get the crowd happy, cheering, and warmed up in preparation for the conman's show, where he tried to sell the crowd bullshit medical cures that didn't work. Tarrare quit the travelling freak show and decided that he wanted to do it alone, and he continued this exact same act on the streets of Paris, and he was actually quite successful until after one performance he actually suffered a severe intestinal obstruction, and so members of the crowd had to actually carry him to Hotel Dieu Hospital. The crowd handed Tarrare over to a surgeon called Dr. Giraud, who treated Tarrare with high-potency laxatives and was able to successfully remove the blockage. Tarrare said that as thanks to the surgeon, he would swallow the surgeon's watch and chain as a joke. Dr. Giraud was unamused by this and said to Tarrare, "If you do that, I'll cut you open to get them back." Tarrare decided not to do it. Not long after
probably was
that,
serious though. He was probably dead ass. Hold on.
Coalition broke out, and Tarrare decided to sign up with the French Revolutionary Army. But as you can imagine, the military rations he was provided with did not satisfy his appetite. He would do jobs for other soldiers in exchange for a share of their rations, but he would also scavenge for scraps of food in various refuse piles and dung heaps. Since he wasn't getting as much food as he would usually get, he gets submitted to the military hospital with a case of extreme exhaustion, and so to combat this, the doctors decided to quadruple his rations. It still wasn't enough. He was still scavenging for food in the refuse piles and dung heaps, but he was also stealing scraps of food from other patients, as well as, on many occasions, sneaking into the apothecary and eating all of the ingredients. This strange behaviour eventually caught
what
the
is
attention
wrong with this
of the
nigga, bro?
doctors. Two medical professionals called Dr. Courville and Georges Didier asked their superiors if they could actually keep Tarrare in the military hospital so that they could run a series of physiological experiments. This was given the go-ahead by Baron Percy, who was the surgeon-in-chief of the hospital, and he was also the doctor that Tarrare would end up becoming closest with. So Courville, Didier and Percy started a series of experiments to find out what was going on with Tarrare's body, what makes him tick, and why is he the way he is. And these experiments got dark. First they decided to see just how much Tarrare could eat. So they prepared a meal that could have fed 15 people. It had things like meat pies, plates of salted grease, gallons and gallons of milk and various other items. Usually hospital staff would actually have Tarrare restrained whenever he's around food to prevent him from getting to it, but on this occasion they decided to undo his straps. As soon as they did, Tarrare immediately ran over to the table that had a meal for 15 people sitting on it, and Tarrare ate the entire thing in a single sitting, and then fell asleep. Then the doctors did something a little fucked up. They gave Tarrare a live cat. Tarrare immediately ripped the cat's abdomen open with his mouth, drank its blood, and then ate the entire thing apart from its bones. Shortly afterwards, Tarrare vomited up the cat's fur. The doctors then started giving Tarrare various live animals, including things like snakes, lizards, and puppies.
Oh, what?
Fur. The doctors then started
Bro,
giving
what is
various
happening?
live animals, including things like snakes, lizards, and puppies. Tarrare killed and ate all of them. On one occasion, he was handed a large live eel. Tarrare apparently crushed the eel's head with his teeth and then swallowed it whole.
Bro, okay, now, okay, little. You deserve a Hall of Fame hazard to the nation. Okay, hazard to the world, bro. Oh my God, bro. You are eating bro. I didn't know you can eat that many things. Like, I didn't know you can, like, is it even good for your body to be eating these animals, bro? You're eating snakes, live rat, bro. They're alive. They're all alive. He's literally taking them, ripping their heads off, and just eating. Like, this is a game or something to him. Like, I don't understand, bro. I don't understand.
A few months of being used for experiments in the hospital, the military board were asking the hospital when Tarrare could return to active duty. The doctors actually fought against this because they didn't want to lose their fascinating test subject. The doctors came up with a plan where Tarrare could return to active duty, but at the same time still contribute to science. They had Tarrare swallow a small wooden box with a document hidden inside it. The next day, they fished the box out of Tarrare's shit and opened it to find out that the document was perfectly intact and still readable. They did a demonstration of the experiment in front of the commanders of the Army of the Rhine, and there were even rumours that Napoleon himself was present at this demonstration. The experiment was successful, and it was decided that Tarrare would be recruited as a spy who would smuggle documents in his stomach. As a reward for the experiment being successful, Tarrare was given a wheelbarrow that contained 30 pounds of raw bull lungs and livers, which he immediately started eating in front of the horrified commanders. I just find it quite funny that it's possible that Napoleon himself watched Tarrare sifting through his own shit to find a wooden box and then immediately eating a wheelbarrow full of guts. Even though
that's
the top
disgusting,
brass were
bro.
convinced
Honestly,
of
this is
Tarrare's
disturbing.
physical abilities, they were not too sure about his mental capacity because Tarrare was not the brightest bulb. In fact, he was actually pretty stupid, so they decided at first to only trust him with non-sensitive documents. Tarrare's first mission was to swallow a message and smuggle it behind enemy lines to a French colonel who was being held prisoner.
Bro, that's Loki smart, bro. That's Loki like a human fucking like a human like I don't know, human messenger basically. Like you literally can just swallow anything that they want you to, and then all you gotta do is go and poop it out. You know what I'm saying? And then they got the message. Like, wow, that's crazy.
Russian forces in a fortress near Neustadt. Tarrare was told that the document was of great military importance, but in reality, all the document was asking the French colonel to confirm if he had received the message and to report back with any information about the movement of Prussian troops. Tarrare set out on his mission disguised as a German peasant, and not long after he crossed enemy lines and he was near Landau, he was confronted by Prussian forces, and Tarrare, being the absolute genius that he is, replied to them in French. He was immediately arrested for being a spy. They strip searched him and found nothing. He was then given a savage whipping by Prussian forces, but he still refused to hand over any information. He was brought before the Prussian commander, General Zoegli, and he still refused to talk. So Zoegli had him imprisoned. Now, one thing that was common to do with prisoners back in the day, on top of the torture, was to deprive them of food to help break down their will. But what the Prussians didn't know is that for Tarrare, the torture wasn't the whippings or the beatings. No, the real torture was being deprived of food. After 24 hours,
He died?
cracked and told them everything. He told the Prussians that he was carrying crucial military intel in his stomach. So the Prussians chained him to a latrine and waited for the documents to reveal themselves. When the Prussians managed to finally get a hold of the document, Zoegli was absolutely furious to discover that it was not the crucial military intel that Tarrare said it was. Tarrare himself was also very surprised by this. Zoegli flew into a rage and ordered that Tarrare be immediately executed, and so Tarrare was led to the gallows and had a noose put around his neck. But right before Tarrare was about to suffer a short drop and a sudden stop, Zoegli, at the very last second, called off the execution. I think this was some sort of poetic punishment to deceive Tarrare in the same way that Zoegli felt Tarrare had deceived him. They took him down from the gallows, beat the absolute shit out of him, and let him go. Tarrare eventually managed to find his way back behind French lines. This whole ordeal scared the shit out of Tarrare, and he didn't want to do any further military service, so he went back to the military hospital and begged Dr. Percy to take him back in for more experiments, but he also asked the doctors to cure him of his appetite.
Dang.
So Dr. Percy attempted some very bizarre methods to try and cure Tarrare's appetite. He tried things like opium, wine vinegar, tobacco pills, and large quantities of soft-boiled eggs for some reason, but obviously none of that seemed to work. Tarrare tried to go back to his usual antics of stealing hospital food and stealing ingredients from the apothecary, but as the doctors knew Tarrare was back, they locked these places down so Tarrare couldn't get in. So he would sneak out of the hospital and eat discarded offal that had been dumped by butcher shops, and he was even seen fighting with stray dogs over dead animals they found in the street. He was
Okay, nah, nigga, okay. This nigga's literally a wild animal. At this point, bro, you're eating anything. You're bro, oh my god, bro. He's literally, bro, whoa, that's actually crazy. Nah, think about it. If I ever seen a human being fighting over a dead animal with another animal, he was fighting over. Let's just say he was fighting. Let's just say he. All right, let's put this picture right here. So he out in the wild, right? He fighting a lion over another animal that's dead, cause he wants to eat it, but he don't want the lion to take his food, cause he wants to eat it. And the lion wants the food too, and the lion will eat your ass too, and he will eat the lion. So it's like, at the same time, it's like, he's just, what are you at this point? You're not a human. You're not a human.
caught many times in the hospital trying to drink buckets of blood that had been collected from patients undergoing bloodletting, and several times he was kicked out of the hospital morgue for trying to eat the dead.
What's wrong with you?
Buckets of blood that had
Bro, you're not here drinking buckets of blood?
been collected from patients undergoing bloodletting, and several times he was kicked out of the hospital morgue for trying to eat the dead bodies.
What the fuck is going on, bro? What is that? Like, he wants to eat everything. He literally wants to eat everything. He doesn't care. He does not care. Bro, first, okay, bro. I don't, oh my god, bro. Oh my god, bro. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. Oh my, make sure my shit's straight. I don't get it, like.
The hospital staff were getting sick of Tarrare and all of the problems he was causing, and they begged Dr. Percy to send Tarrare away to an insane asylum.
Dang, really he damn near do gotta go though.
The hospital staff were getting sick of Tarrare and all of the problems he was causing, and they begged Dr. Percy to send Tarrare away to an insane asylum. But Dr. Percy really wanted to continue his experiments, so he always defended Tarrare's presence at the hospital. Until one day, a toddler went missing from one of the wards. Tarrare was immediately a suspect, but there was no evidence. Either because Tarrare didn't do it, or he ate all the evidence. But on this occasion, Dr. Percy didn't defend him, and Tarrare was chased out of the hospital by furious staff. Tarrare's whereabouts
Wait, hold on, I didn't even hear what he said. What did he do though?
Bodies. The hospital staff were getting sick of Tarrare and all of the problems he was causing, and they begged Dr. Percy to send Tarrare away to an insane asylum. But Dr. Percy really wanted to continue his experiments, so he always defended Tarrare's presence at the hospital. Until one day, a toddler went missing from one of the wards.
Oh my god,
Tarrare
a kid. That's what he said, a toddler.
was immediately a suspect,
Oh
but there
my
was
god,
no
he's
evidence.
eating little kids.
Either
bro.
because Tarrare didn't do it, or he ate all the evidence. But on this occasion, Dr. Percy didn't defend him, and Tarrare was chased out of the hospital by furious staff. Tarrare's whereabouts were unknown, until 4 years later, when Dr. Percy received a letter from a Dr. M. Tessier of Versailles Hospital saying that a patient of his really wished to see him. It was Tarrare. Dr. Percy visited Tarrare, who had only just recently submitted himself to this hospital. Tarrare was bedridden and was too weak to even sit up. Tarrare said that he felt like his condition had been brought on by a golden fork that he had swallowed, and he hoped that Dr. Percy would be able to remove it. Upon examination, Dr. Percy could see that Tarrare was suffering from advanced tuberculosis, and there was nothing that he or any of the doctors
Can somebody explain what tuberculosis is?
do for him. And so, a month later, Tarrare passed away at the approximate age of 26. In the name of science, the medical board wanted Tarrare's body to be dissected so that they could actually finally discover why he was the way that he was, but they wanted it done right away because for some strange reason, Tarrare's body was decomposing at a rate much faster than a normal corpse's. However, lots of the top surgeons said, and I quote, "Fuck no, I'm not touching that disgusting thing." Okay, that's probably not what they said, but it's probably pretty damn close. Dr. Tessier, however, was very curious to find out what the hell was going on with Tarrare's body, so he volunteered to do the dissection. During the autopsy, they discovered that Tarrare's throat was abnormally wide all the way down. They found that if they tilted his head back and opened his mouth, they could actually see clearly all the way down directly into his stomach. When they opened him up, they found that his body was full of pus and that his liver and gallbladder were unusually large, but the most surprising thing they found, obviously, was his stomach. Despite the thing being absolutely covered in ulcers, his stomach actually took up almost all of his abdominal cavity. The man was essentially a walking stomach. The golden fork was never found. There have been a lot of theories behind why Tarrare was the way that he...
Why did you eat a fork? Why did you eat a fork? Why did you eat a fork? Why did you eat a golden fork?
was. Some people think he had hyperthyroidism. Some people think he suffered damage to his amygdala. Some people think he just had an extreme form of pica. But for me personally, I think he was just a really shit X-Man. Before Alex Jones plays us out, I'm just going to use this opportunity to update you all on a few things. I am going to be in America next month, and I'm going to be speaking at the International Conference of Men's Issues, which is in Chicago, Illinois, and it's running from the 16th until the 18th of August. Okay, shit. But if that's what you're into, the link to her channel's down below.
Hey, man. I have no words. No words, hey. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. Comment, show me yet to next, man. Follow me on Instagram for our most active at. We on the grind to 1K, man. I'm out.